The story begins by showing a steel car carrying money from a depot or money storage area, where there are 2 guards or police officers on duty to carry the money to its destination safely and securely. However, just a few meters from the depot, suddenly the armored car is blocked by a group of armed robbers who order the 2 guards to get out and are shot dead immediately. A few weeks after the incident, we will see a company called Fortico, a security service for delivering money whose job is to protect and deliver money to several places such as banks and so on.
Why we train you properly and pay the premium rates. It's 2 or 3 guards in each. A driver.
His name is Patrick Hill. Due to the loss of the 2 guards we saw earlier, Fortigo management recruited a new person, namely Patrick. He is not alone, he is accompanied by a senior officer Bullet who will be his mentor, where he said that Patrick must pass a series of tests starting from a shooting fitness test and a car driving test. He also must get a minimum score of 70 for each test to pass to become an officer at Fortico.
We just need to see how you are under pressure. Should we get started?
What did you say, Bullet?
Training course. We got 8 hours together.
Starting with a fitness test, then shooting, then driving, it doesn't seem too flashy and not below average because Patrick apparently got a score of exactly 70 according to the predetermined passing standard.
Just slipped in. Any less, we'd be doing this again.
How many we got coming?
On the first day, Patrick was assigned to sit in the front with another senior officer named Dev, where he asked Patrick to stay behind him, because if something undesirable happens, he will be the first to be in front and be a good and charismatic senior.
She knows how I like my eggs.
Long alibi.
Fuck you, Bullet. It's the feds in my face trying to make out if I was involved.
And on the first day everything went smoothly without any disturbing obstacles whatsoever. When it was time to go home and be absent, we will see Patrick looking at the office's attendance cards where his gaze seemed to hold anger and revenge. So it can be concluded that Patrick has a specific purpose and intention to join Fortico. The second day he was seen at the dock while Bullet entered the ship to deliver his money to the client. But soon his heart began to sing that Bullet was now being held hostage by robbers and asked that the empty steel car containing his money be taken somewhere in exchange for Bullet's life. Suddenly, this made Dev look very panicked and nervous in facing a situation like this. In contrast to his arrogant attitude at the beginning, it was Patrick who seemed so calm and asked Dev to follow what the robbers ordered.
Take the next left.
Arriving at the location, the robbers asked one of Patrick or Dev to throw the bag containing the money into another car, where Patrick volunteered to do it and asked Dev to stay in the car.
You're just gonna kill all 3 of us and take the money anyway.
Money and store it in the flatbed from the fucking dirt.
When throwing the money, Patrick deliberately threw his bag out of the car. So when one of the robbers got out of the car, he did something very shocking, namely, yes, Patrick brutally shot all the robbers very accurately, where we can feel there is a dark spirit or a very dark soul inside Patrick. And when the leader of the robbers ran away, Patrick chased him until he was caught. Then asked about who was the mastermind behind the robbery that happened some time ago. But it seems he didn't know anything about it.
Suck my fucking dick.
Who'd you work for?
I said suck my fucking...
Suck your own dick.
The next day, Patrick was called to his boss's office to be interrogated about the chronology of yesterday's events, where there were also 2 FBI agents who asked him if he saw the same perpetrator as the perpetrator some time ago. Second, the FBI agent also showed a recording of the incident some time ago, aka the incident we saw earlier, which in fact had 3 victims lost in the incident, namely 1 civilian who happened to be there. And when Patrick saw the recording, we could already conclude that the civilian seemed to have a connection with Patrick, and most likely that was the reason why Patrick was there or came here.
You alright to keep watching?
Yeah.
You sure?
The 2 FBI agents then contacted their superiors about their suspicions that Patrick was the person they had been looking for 25 years. Where this will make us all even more curious about who this Patrick really is.
Want us to do?
Not a fucking thing. Let the painter paint. Oh, clever fucking you, Hubbard.
I think we know what he was doing there, boss. Do you have any idea what would happen to you let the fox in the fucking in-house?
3 months later, we will see Patrick on duty with the bullets, where they were again confronted by several robbers who hijacked the car and demanded all the money to be handed over. And we will again be shocked when we see the robbers were made extremely shocked and scared to death after seeing that one of the police officers was Patrick, so they did not rob him and just left without doing anything. The slightest resistance.
Get down!
Not only was the boss in his office shocked to the point of thinking that Patrick was a psychopath with a terrifying aura, Dev and Bullets were also seen together and discussing this figure of Patrick, where Bullets saw firsthand when one of the robbers seemed to already know Patrick and was scared to death when he saw his face directly.
What he's saying? He's a dark fucking spirit. But if he's not a cop, what is he?
5 months earlier in this flashback scene, we will find out who Patrick really is. It turns out he is a mafia leader most wanted by the FBI. Where in this scene Patrick is seen with his eldest son, who happens to be on vacation.
Prepare the best. Time's the game start.
It's not gonna rain.
Dougie, cut.
Not long after, Patrick received a call from one of his men who has a white beard and is a bit J-Ross named Mike. This is the motto.
Make sure the boss knows it's not my fault. It's your fucking job. You do it.
Making a statement, otherwise you find a way to be there. There is no...
Besides doing good business, but not good business, the Mafia group led by Patrick also does other dirty work, namely robbing money. Where one of the targets is depot money that is taken away by a steel car because one of his other men cannot be present and supervise the route of the steel car. Mike also asked Patrick, aka his own boss, to intervene for a moment and see where the armored car went. When we arrived at the location, we will finally know the real chronology, where it turns out there was another party or group that had robbed the armored money first. When the incident occurred, or the incident we saw earlier happened, Patrick left his only son in the car for his dirty work. Where as a result the child had to become an innocent victim of the incident. And when Patrick was going to help him, he himself was shot in a non-vital part but enough to make him coma for 3 weeks. When he recovered, Patrick immediately met one of his friends who was the head of the FBI, where he gave the names of criminals who had the potential to be involved in the robbery. And we will see how tense and scared they were when they were about to face the Mafia boss, aka Patrick. Where they were very aware that Patrick must be very angry and blind because his only son had died due to their negligence.
nothing else, trying to get answers.
I need to know who pulled the trigger.
We all love Dougie. And our
For Patrick, running around lusting and venting his anger was not his style. Because what he wanted was the names of several people who had pulled the trigger that killed his eldest son. So Mike and his team quickly searched one by one for the people on the list. Until they found a name, namely the Gashi brothers.
Sounding you're dead to.
Always be a... I'm stuck in...
After getting the name they wanted, Patrick told Mike to give him money and let the person get on with his life.
Give him 200 grand. It's a case of the...
Not wanting to waste time, Patrick and his men immediately went to the Gashi brothers' residence, where they turned out to only run a film business involving underage prostitution, which had nothing to do with the robbery that happened some time ago. And this is what Patrick did next. Yes, Patrick still killed the Gashi brothers and their accomplices so casually without the slightest emotion. Which was a form of his dislike for the dirty business. Patrick then ordered his men to give money to the young girls and let them go.
I shouldn't have got you involved. You're right, Mike.
Besides making Patrick's men even more afraid and respectful of him, it actually worried Mike because as someone close to him, Mike did not want Patrick to have problems with the parties who had been harmed by this hunting action.
Delta Orange security system. So your criminal checks are clean. You've got usual fare. This time you're Patrick Hill.
With all his access and acquaintances, Patrick tried to find the perpetrator with a different approach, namely by disguising himself as a security guard at Fortigo and starting the search without anyone's help.
Just make sure you check it out with there.
The autopsy report.
Then the scene flashbacks back to the starting point where there were 6 mercenaries who had not been in action for a long time and were in dire need of money. Where in fact one of them was the perpetrator who had killed Patrick's son, namely a man with a scar around his eye named Jan. Of the 6 soldiers, Jan was the youngest and most brutal among the other soldiers.
They owe us.
Why are you asking me?
With the military skills they had, Jan and his 5 friends robbed a house to find a few dollars, which after being cut here and there the money only left 1 padlock, which if divided by 6 would certainly be very insufficient and very little. So the leader took the initiative to carry out a much more profitable action, namely robbing money carried by an armored car. And this is how this incident began.
Cash truck. We got a guy on the inside.
We go out.
Split 7 ways, not 6.
With the weapons they had bought from the proceeds in the previous robbery, Jan, assisted by his gang, immediately carried out the action, assisted by one of the leader's colleagues who was none other than an insider, aka a guard at Fortico itself. What's interesting is that you will be very emotional with Jan because the reason he killed his son Patrick was very self-indulgent, because initially one of the Fortico guards rebelled, so Jan brutally killed them both. Annoyed by this, Jan sadistically killed Patrick's eldest son, who didn't even put up any resistance at all. And he did it purely because he was annoyed by the rebellion that had just happened.
Take the legs! Right! Incoming! I'm already hit! You're shot a fucking... What the fuck did you just do?
Back to the present time, we can see Jan and his 5 friends already living comfortably and prosperously thanks to the money from the robbery. Where the leader was apparently not satisfied with that and intended to get even more money, where they planned to rob directly from the money storage alias depot at Fortico itself. With the help of an insider whose identity is still unknown, the 6 of them were very enthusiastic to carry out the action.
Bo. Black Friday. We're our kids.
We get it wrong?
We do this right?
Yeah, so lay it on us. We're dying to find out.
Returns to scene Patrick and Bullet, who are on their way to deliver money, where Bullet suddenly offers an attractive offer to get more money than this meager salary. Until it is revealed, a shocking fact, that the insider who has been involved in the death of Patrick's eldest son is this Bullet himself.
You with me now? You get me? I helped him get into the cash truck game.
Not wanting to rush into action, Patrick was able to control his emotions to find out who had pulled the trigger that killed his son, where he was willing to help Bullet in the robbery plan.
Today.
When, Bullet?
Then you can look the other way.
The depot.
After telling Jan and his 5 friends that Patrick would join them, the 2 of them went to a predetermined location where the robbers would hide in a car so they could all easily enter the depot and take all the money directly from inside.
You'll see tomorrow. If you're a good boy today,
arriving at Fortico, the robbers immediately carried out their action, where Patrick was assigned to be Sandria and would be tied up as a guarantee for them to get out of there alive.
move now, move. Go.
Okay, Dave, that's all good and accounted for.
Don't you fucking make a sound.
Bullet himself also became Sandra and asked another guard to surrender himself, where the guards put up a fight until a fairly deadly shootout occurred.
Get down!
When the other robbers were putting money into the car and the others were involved in a shootout, that was the right time for Patrick to move, where he gallantly paralyzed one of the robbers. But when he saw there was no scar on his face, Patrick began to realize that the person was not the perpetrator he was looking for.
What do you want us to do?
After saving Dev and his boss, Patrick disguised himself as one of them and managed to paralyze 4 of the robbers, and then put a cell phone in one of the bags containing the money so that they could be tracked if they managed to get out of here.
Elvis was leaving the building. I'm not gonna hurt you!
Leaving Jan and the leader, Bullets helped them both by killing all of their fellow guards. Where when Patrick was about to shoot the 2 remaining groups, Bullets immediately sprayed him with bullets using his ump weapon. With careful planning according to the leader's instructions, the 3 of them managed to escape from Fortigo and arrived at a safe place, where we can see the leader bleeding from being shot during the incident. When he had a bad feeling about Jan who would leave him, the leader intended to kill him. However, due to his very bad condition, the leader was killed by Jan and his own men and had to die before enjoying all the money.
Get the boss. Okay.
We all understand the risks.
Leaving Jan and Bullet, they both stuck to the original plan to move all the money into another car. Where when Bullet was off guard, Sean immediately attacked and pointed a gun at him, making Bullet die instantly. So in the end, Jan was the last person left and continued his life with the money from the robbery, which of course would not be blessed at all.
Move in. Weapon ready. Right up here. 6-5. What the fuck? Alpha Command, come in.
One night when Jan was in the apartment with all his money, suddenly a phone rang from inside one of the bags containing the money, which turned out to be a cell phone that had been put in by Patrick, and you will be very surprised when you realize that Patrick was there and still alive. Who knows how, but according to the analysis, Patrick was able to survive because of the protective suit he was wearing and seemed to pretend to be dead at the time of the incident, which had indeed planned to meet Jan in person.
Deliver.
Patrick also told Jan to read the medical records of his son's death, where Patrick intended to kill Jan in a manner almost identical to that experienced by his eldest son.
What the fuck do you want? Deliver.
Starting with shooting the liver, then the lungs, then the spleen, and finally the heart, so that the pain felt by his son would also be felt by this bastard Jan.
How do I?
After all was done, the CIA leader immediately took over the crime scene, where Patrick bravely and politely offered him all the money in exchange for the revenge he had achieved.